everyone, and welcome to the Contingency Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me, as always, is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Well, man, I mean, we're kind of right now doing the podcast that we attempted to do, but instead we did the podcast that we had to do because we weren't able to do the podcast that we had to re-record. So now we're doing the podcast that we meant to do a few days ago, but couldn't do because we ran out of time.
And it didn't take a month. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It did not indeed. This is almost like regular scheduled stuff here.
Yeah. For all of our listeners, this is like the best we've done in a while. For us, this has been torture. But that doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, we've obviously, for the past, I guess 2 months really, we haven't been super regular in posting, and we've sort of explained that. Just kind of a combination of lack of time and then also kind of disinterest in some content. Now everybody can say, "Oh, they're not real Star Wars fans." Well, I mean, we are, but. Even us sometimes has to take a little bit of a mild break.
I would really like to meet someone who likes every bit of Star Wars content that claims to be a fan. And dissect their brain and figure out what is wrong with them.
Yeah, what was wrong with you? Yeah, so we're back again. I guess we can just kind of start right off with how your week's been, although it's only been...
We could technically just refer to the last recording for that, but...
Yeah, it's been like 2 days, I guess?
Yeah, roughly. Weekend. You can ask how our weekend's been. How's yours been? Not bad. I've been attempting to do house projects and stuff. I actually did get some painting done. Met up with a friend today and went down to a cool kind of little bar / deli / food place. Had sample flight of beer plus another beer. This place I have not taken you to, but we need to go sometime. They have a phenomenal chocolate or a phenomenal coffee stout. It's hard to find a good one, but I do love a good one.
Yeah, it's one of the smoothest coffee stouts I've personally ever had. It is so good, and I had kind of forgotten about it because I personally haven't been to this place in quite some time. So I got the flight. They do 6 beers at a time on tap, and the flight was 5, but I didn't want the Christmas ale. I'm kind of good, man.
We've been trying that lately, and it just hasn't worked out for us.
No, it really hasn't. I mean, we took our dad out to dinner. Thursday? 3 days ago.
I think so.
And and you got some pumpkin beer, which legitimately did taste like pumpkin pie, but not what I want out of a beer.
Especially for you. You don't even like pumpkins, so.
I'm not a big pumpkin fan. No. But really, really good drink. And I wasn't really searching for dinner at that time because I'd eaten something a little bit before that. But I had a nice soft pretzel, which was great. Nice. Actually, really good pretzel. The cheese sauce that they put with it was cheese sauce is kind of a tough one to do because if you're homemaking cheese sauce. Sometimes you get separation if it's been setting too long, especially if you've been sitting it at heat, like in a holding whatever chamber or some sort of pot. And the cheese sauce had a decent flavor, but it had very clearly started to separate. So it was either a little too old or had just been sitting at heat for too long.
Yeah,
which is a common mistake. Not a big deal. The mustard they gave me, instead of giving me like a mustard, they gave a grainy mustard. So it was all grains instead of mustard, which tasted really good, but it kind of pisses you off a little bit when you've been drinking a couple of beers and and you're like,
Got all
I
that
want the
stuck in your
mustard.
teeth, and
I want the mustard on the pretzel. I don't want to have to work this hard
Right.
for it. But no, it was good. It was good to catch up with this friend of mine. I haven't seen him in since the summer, and we have both gotten new jobs too. So
yeah.
that was good. That was good stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much been the weekend. How about you?
Cool. Yeah, not a whole lot going on for me either. We've tried the last couple of days kind of prepare for vacation and whatnot. Please don't rob my home while we're gone, for those of you who have figured out my address. Other than that, I can't say there was much exciting either. We tried a new place ourselves on Friday after I left your house from recording. Since it's at least almost an hour away from both of us, I'll go ahead and name drop it. It was New Albany local cantina. Just a little hole-in-the-wall Mexican place. Pretty good. Basically, their thing is just like they have like 30 different tacos to choose from. I got like a tempura taco and a spicy fried chicken mole taco. Good times. But I wish I could think of the name of it. I tried a IPA there that you have liked, but it's kind of pretentious. Like the way they sold it was, it's like, yeah, this is a double dry, super hoppy IPA. I'm like, okay, I like hoppy, so I'll try it. One of the lightest ones I've had, but it was a super good citrusy flavor.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to look into finding it because I'm sure you would love it. But
Okay.
yeah, good little place. We'll have to swing down there sometime if we feel like making a drive.
Yeah, there's a local cantina a little closer. I know what you're the franchise that you're talking about. I don't think that I have been there, but I do know where it's at. So yeah, we can definitely hit that up at some point. That would be pretty cool.
Cool.
Well, all right then, pretty good. As far as today's content, we are going to talk some High Republic comics. As we've talked about probably ad nauseum now, we definitely stopped the War of the Bounty Hunters. It was getting old. Maybe one day we'll do a recap and kind of break down sort of what generally happened. I'm not even sure because, again, I stopped reading them. I have them. I stopped reading them. But we did want to kind of keep up with High Republic because, as we had sort of talked about, the High Republic stories were sometimes better than the High Republic books.
Mm-hmm.
And currently, right now, we have the mainline High Republic, and then we have this little offshoot called Trial of Shadows, which might be interesting. I'm not sure 100% yet.
Yeah, as we've only gone through 2, it's definitely early to tell, but we'll definitely give it a try, for sure.
Yep. Yeah, and I think it's worth at least giving it a try. Now, on the plus side, the War of the Bounty Hunters is over. So, there's a possibility we might maybe at some point jump back into some of the main lines, but it's really going to have to feel worth our time, I think. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but
yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. I feel like we should wait till it's like 25 issues in roughly and maybe do a quick recap, but I'm going to be very hesitant to jump back into that series.
mm-hmm.
I would probably just be of the mindset of doing a quick gloss over, like maybe a video review of the actual War of the Bounty Hunters, just skip past that and start reading from then on.
Yeah, sure. I get that.
Vader seems to be interesting. I know that there's potentially some more collaboration with Sabe, which would be cool.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know. We'll just have to see when a few more issues come out, and we've had a little time to decompress from dealing with it.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, I mean it's important though to it is important to, I think at least us, not to continue to push forward on something if it's just not working. But yeah, we'll see. That's
Yeah.
I think that's the word for now. We'll see. And if it's worth it, it's worth it. If it's not, it's not. But I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. It's been a bit demoralizing, to be honest. However, we do have what we have, which is not a bad thing, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then obviously, not too long now, but before too long, we've got our into Book of Boba Fett, which is obviously going to be the sort of bigger deal, at least for the time being. For the time being. So, there we go. Well, I don't know, man. Anything else we need to mention right now, or have we kind of gotten all the preliminaries out?
No, I think we're good. We pretty much, went through all the news on the last episode, so really not a whole lot extra to talk about this episode.
Yeah, that's true. We did obviously have our news episode already for sure. So, well, then I suppose, would you like to do the main High Republic line first, then kind of pick back up where we left off in the past?
Yeah, that's kind of how I was thinking of doing it.
All right. So we are on issues 10 and 11. We kind of pick back up with Keeve and one of the twins as they're going undercover. Basically, going undercover into the Nihil. We just refuse to let the Nihil go. You know what I mean? This is very clearly what publishing, what the whatever the writers, they just seem to only have eyes for this particular storyline. For Nihil, which I don't know, man. I still think is a mistake. But
yeah, last probably 3 or 4 episodes we've talked about this in great detail, but say one more time. After reading these 2 comics, it doesn't make me like the Nihil anymore or think they're any more of a big threat. It's just circumstance that they happen to be winning, really.
Yeah. Yep, 100%. So anyway, we have one of our Hutts that fought alongside the Jedi against the Drengir. Oh, excuse me. Big yawn there. Had to get that out. My bad. So we have one of our Hutts here who is captured. What was our Hutt's name?
Miarga, I think
Yeah, I don't
I'm
really
pronouncing that right. Close enough.
Yeah, something like that. And Keeve and our twin are kind of, in effect, being tested. And they do come up with a couple of creative solutions here, effectively trying to get out of, basically torturing the Hutt. The twin causes one of these little bunny people to trip over with a canister of, what do they call that? Nagnol. Yeah, and it catches on fire, so you have the fire bunny.
Yeah, by the way, are you excited to see more bunny people?
No, I'm good. I don't need more lops in here. Stupid. So instead of, torturing it out here, they put it in a torture chamber. And I'm just following this line, and then we'll talk the rest of the characters as well. They attempt to gas it, but they force stop the gas. You
Yeah.
can stop the gas, Mr. Jedi freaking master on the council couldn't even stop a cloud. And then they start to zap the hut. And I mean, long story short here, the hut gives them away. It's like, well, yeah, it didn't
Yeah.
make. Did you expect the hut to go along with your plan that you haven't told it about?
I mean, I'm glad that they did it this way. It's the most logical thing to have happen, honestly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have liked a little, 5-6 story arc of them trying to blend in as Nihil. I don't really think it would have been that entertaining. So I'm glad this happened.
Right. Now, the only thing that I don't like here is so they continue to torture the hut, and this effectively renders our Jedi unable to do anything
Yeah,
because of the suffering. Oh, they're suffering. I can't fight now.
Well, at least that gives you an excuse as to why Stellan Geos is the way he is.
I just don't think it's very. I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but I also don't really like it as a plot device. And that effectively just leads them to being captured. And then we have Lorna D, who is present here. She kills the hut. She punches the twin. She takes Keev's lightsaber. And then Keev and twin are tripping with their new little weapon here. What's in the box? Did you get that one? What's in the
Darkness.
box?
Not ahead. Probably not ahead.
This was actually something I didn't quite understand. So is this the creature thing, or is this a new, or is this like the machine that stops you from feeling the force that they had cultivated in one of the books? You remember the scientist, or is this something
Yeah, that
new?
was kind of just thrown away after a while, but potentially, I mean, there's no reason it couldn't be resurrected. The plans are there. But I don't know. It's to me, I figured it was the beast or whatever you want to call it, entity. But it's just very underwhelming, just like when you read it in the book, honestly, in my opinion. I don't know. How'd you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I don't know how to feel about it because I don't know what it is.
Right.
I mean, again, we had the weapon that was created by the scientist and her daughter, and then the daughter carried on. And then we had the beast, and I don't know if this is something new, but, this weapon was not really in the purview of... No, it was in the purview of Lorna. You know what? I don't remember, because it wound up passing on to that one rich family that lived on the asteroid.
Well, and there's
But I don't remember the connection.
Yeah, I mean, there's even mention, which is ambiguous, of seeing if the last time they used this was just a fluke or if it can be recreated, but that still could be either thing, because both the creature and the device were used on Jedi. So, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only connection to the beast thing would be, that they both seem to, basically be supremely afraid, which is something that happened to like Bell and even Elzar, when he was taken down, his ship was taken down.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what's supposed to be, because the reaction of, what was it, Stellan and Elzar when the machine was activated in front of our senator, they might not have had the force, but they didn't feel that sort of fear.
And I mean, that could lead towards just their strength and the force, but it seemed like it crippled them a lot less.
Sure, yeah, for sure. Or it could be another gas or something like that. I'm just not 100% as to what this is supposed to be, but it kind of looks like a field. But there's also like a hand thing here. So,
I guess my only question is, why was it here? If they didn't know they were Jedi, it just seemed we had talked about this. I mean, it's very circumstantial that they're going to have this plot device with them, and it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense why they have it with them right now.
Well, the other thing too, if it's the beast, Marchion has the beast.
Right. And I
we
couldn't
haven't-
imagine he'd give that up to anybody.
Well, yeah, we haven't seen him defeated yet, have we? I mean, granted, we've missed a little bit of media, but not that much. Not the major books.
Yeah, and there's no mention of him one way or the other. I feel like if anything major happened with him, they would have at least brought it up to some extent.
Yeah. Well, I don't know exactly what this is right now, but there we go. We do have our other twin who's on our ship with Skier and Avar doing weird stuff and then turning to semi-stone, which is kind of what happened to Loden. So that's the other thing too. I mean, it's kind of ambiguous at this point, but I suppose the only other thing that I would probably put forward here is that we have the centipede thing.
Yeah.
Jedi
Force-sensitive
centipede.
centipede scientist.
Yeah. Who's basically informing Skier that he's losing his connection to the Force. And we don't know necessarily if this is just Skier or if this is a bigger sort of plot thing at this point. But that's kind of issue 10, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of weird. I know that Skier was under the Drangir's control longer, but it seemed like, we have multiple Jedi that haven't lost a connection that were also under the influence at some point, including Keeve. She communed with the Drangir for a short amount of time. Avar as well. And Skier's just kind of getting the shaft here for no reason. I'm not a huge fan of him, but it just seems kind of odd that it's only happening to him.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, whatever. Whatever, dude. So that's issue 10. Let's go ahead and move on to issue 11, which I don't know what cover you have, but I have the Super Uwu cover. The Super Uwu Avar Chris cover.
It's a little different. I've just got one of the twins just kind of in despair.
Yeah, I think that's the main cover too, which I didn't really care for. At least Uwu Avar Chris was something better than that cover, but it wasn't much better.
I can't see why they would pick that from that. I mean, she does some things in this comic, but it seems kind of out of place.
Right. Now, issue 11 does, I don't know if it clarifies or not. I just think this is a gas. This is just some new weapon of Lorna D's. Because we kind of see from Keeve's standpoint where, she's tripping.
Yeah.
She's tripping. The twin is also tripping. She's, seeing a melting twin and so I'm pretty sure that this is at this point more of a gas or some sort of biological weapon, effectively. Because Lorna through the books was very biological weapon driven, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, not much really there. Lorna, sort of like Marchion, takes one of the sabers here kind of as her own. That sort of seems to be their thing. We have the twins doing super pog faces. I mean, who thought that artwork was cool? He's just pogging as he's turning to stone.
Yeah.
I don't really understand the twins. I don't get it. I don't really understand. Why are they turning to stone?
Yeah, not key.
Their connection does that, or a lack of connection, because they can't feel each other right now. For some reason,
it kind of breaks apart this whole monster concept. Because wouldn't you think that if this thing is going to turn you to stone, you would have to be present? And your connection with another being in the Force wouldn't have anything to do with that, realistically.
Mm-hmm.
And being void of the Force wouldn't cause it either, because there are creatures that don't commune with the Force, and they're fine.
Yeah, I'm. It's just a little confusing. It's a little confusing of a storyline, because even like a biological weapon, how would that disconnect you from the Force?
Well, yeah, that too, for that matter. But transferring to another person miles and miles away, you know.
Well, with the twins, it's more like they're almost like a symbiotic being. There can't necessarily be one without the other type of deal, or at least that's the way they seem to be setting it up in a
Yeah.
weird way. Like they're actually one being.
Well,
That was
and I
just
was going to
split to
mention that. I
two.
mean, there's some dialogue in the last comic that kind of, if you really read into it, makes very little sense because the twin that's with Avar mentions, you know, we aren't technically just joined together. We are one being, one mind, one consciousness. But then, you know, Avar's asking questions like, what's going on? You know, what's happening? You know, and all he can say is, how does he word it? We feel uncertain of Keeve's plan, and there's something going on with the hut.
Yeah.
It's like very, very vague. But if you're sharing a consciousness with someone and your minds are melded, why can you only give me very vague descriptions of what's happening with the other twin?
Yeah.
But you'll turn to stone if the other one does.
Right.
It's weird how they're connected. I'm not totally sold on the twins. I haven't seen anything that makes them interesting. I mean, they're unique, I guess, but they're not cool in any way, to me at least.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
is-
no, I agree. I don't really understand it wholeheartedly, but
I think the whole point of having the twins is just another example of how in tune everyone's supposed to be with the Force during this era and how it's a, you know, a renaissance period of strength and all this stuff. But then you just look at the bigger picture and these Jedi are so weak. Ultimately.
yeah, kind of are, sure. Well, anyway, the rest of the episode here is kind of a rescue mission.
Mm-hmm.
Our Jedi, including Skewer and Avar, go after Keeve and the twin. Skewer's doing, Skewer things, kind of, just hacking people. Seems really, really intent on just cutting people, It's good stuff.
Can't
Might
use
be a little
Force, but I
wild.
will throw a saber at 13 people all at once.
Yeah. He also uses a little handguard on his saber to like crush a bot's helmet or whatever,
Yeah. Pretty
which
sick.
I thought was kind of funny. Then he cuts this one dude in a mech suit in half. Although it only looks like maybe this dude doesn't have like legs, so that's why he has the mech suit.
Yeah, for a second I'm like, oh, he's dead. Well, maybe not. He might just be
Maybe
in that
not.
pod.
Maybe not.
And by the way,
Well,
this just makes me hate that character more from hearing him so much in the audiobooks. So I'm kind of hoping
who's
he is
that?
dead.
The
Well,
mech
that's our
guy?
other. That's the Tempest Runner, right?
Oh, is that the Tempest
new
Runner?
one?
Yeah, I kind
In
of
the
thought
mech
about
suit?
that, but I didn't really. I wasn't sure if that was or not.
I'm just kind of basing it on his interactions with Lorna in this. That
Might
they seem to
be.
be equals, but I could be totally wrong. I don't know.
Yep, for sure. Well, anyway, Lorna does attempt to escape in a shuttle, and we kind of end here with Avar kind of trying to stop the shuttle.
Yeah, we got some Force Unleashed
getting
stuff
away.
going on. It's awesome.
Yeah, a little Ray Skywalker, you know,
God, I
little
love
tug of
Avar.
war.
Avar is the best Jedi. Why can't we have more Avar?
Well, I don't get why she's just in these stupid comics, and I don't want to say stupid comics like being disparaging, but it deserves to be fleshed out more. And it's a problem with comics; you can only flesh out things so
Yeah.
much.
I mean, I'm glad to see her in some capacity, but we can't get her backstory. We can only see the cool things she does, and comics do a very good job of that. But just give us a book.
Yeah. I mean, the pushback is that she was pretty integral to the first book.
Sure.
But I mean, we've kind of pushed back on that her entire storyline here has been so much better than what the books are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're not going to make either Stellan or Elzar OP, then stop talking about them, because I don't really care about either. I mean, again, we've talked about this almost ad nauseum, but like Elzar is just, you know, he's kind of dark side, and he sometimes gets a chick, you know, and then Stellan can't stop a gas cloud. You know, why exactly do I care about these two guys when I have this really cool person over here, the marshal of what's the station called? I should know.
Starlight
We've said
Beacon.
it enough. Starlight Beacon, you know, just out here just doing her thing. So, I don't know.
It's kind of a good example of it is all of the Jedi that Palpatine instantly kills in the confrontation with Mace Windu. And we focus on them more than Mace Windu in a book. That's what it'd be like.
Sure.
Just like not super impressive characters. It's just,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. I'm just seeing her do really cool stuff, and, you know, having to deal with things that are more interesting than the other two, and just I don't know. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why we are where we are. That's all I'm saying with High Republic.
Yeah.
So, I suppose we can go ahead and get going. Anything else we want to talk about in this particular series, or are we ready to move on to the next series?
No, definitely ready to move on.
Okay. Well, Trial of Shadows. Trail. Whatever. Trail of Shadows. That's right. Trail of Shadows. And
Pretty sick opening page. I'll give you that much.
yeah, there are a few things that I'm not really quite sure about this either. Like, we're trying to make some weird connections that I'm not quite sure about, but okay. But we do enter where, what was our book called?
This wasn't
Was
Out of
our
the
last
Shadows,
book?
was it? Was this Out of the Shadows?
No,
Directly-
it wasn't Out of the Shadows.
I thought that was the last book we did. Crap.
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's at least the other one that has this main protagonist in it.
I'll find it eventually. Yeah, because Out of the Shadows was the Justina Ireland book.
All right, this is the tie-in to the fair.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Detail-wise.
Yeah, it's all about the details with us. I must not have put it in my Star Wars reading playlist either. That's funny.
It is so hard to get any information on any High Republic stuff. It is. I know it's new, but man.
Well, I'll eventually. I mean, this is crazy riveting stuff, but anyway, whatever. I don't care. It was our last major novel, where Stellan Gios couldn't stop a gas cloud, and we had the destruction of the High Republic, of the Republic Fair, and at the very end of that book, we had the death of Loden Greatstorm at the hands of our beast thing that Marchion Rowe had unleashed. Rising Storm, by the way. That's what it was. Rising Storm. Stupid book. No, it's not stupid. It's just
That was our
disappointing.
official review.
Yeah, it was disappointing. Oh, hey, look at this. The Fallen Star by Claudia Gray set to release January 4th. Interesting.
Oh, have the Destruction of Starlight Beacon.
Nah, Starlight Beacon's still around even in later times, if you remember. We get references to that in other media.
I can
Anyway.
forget about that and not worry about canon and, continuity.
It's all about canon. So
Correct.
anyway, we have the Destruction of Loden, and they're trying to like tie in this like almost nursery rhyme type song.
Yeah.
Which we have to assume is something to do with this monster that might have been hard baked into Jedi life or something like that. It's kind of like a Freddy Krueger thing, which I
and
don't
by the way,
really-
the I don't know if it's this comic or the next one. They show the master that sings that to young Stellan and Emmerich here, and he does look like a Freddy Krueger monster. He's pretty creepy.
Yeah, for sure. So we are going to be following new characters here. You have our character names by any chance?
I just had them
Emmerich.
pulled up. I might. Emmerich starts with a C. I can't think of his last name now. Let me see if I have a tab open for it. I think I do.
Yeah, unlike some of our comics, they don't necessarily straight up give us the names in the beginning, which is always helpful. I'm really bad with names. But we have our Jedi
Yes, I know.
Emmerich, and then this detective, kind of, I suppose, would be the operative word.
Sion Holt is the detective's name, and it's
I'm never gonna remember that
Yeah.
at all.
yeah, and it's
And is Emmerich a Jedi
Emmerich
master? Or is he a knight?
Kaftor. Yes, he is a master.
So
And apparently
Emmerich's-
he was in a book, and I don't remember him whatsoever.
Mhm.
I tried to find him. I cannot. But he was in Out of the Shadows, which is the most
Yeah.
recent book we reviewed, so we should remember him, but I don't.
yeah. Well, it seems like Emmerich is kind of sort of investigating this whole beast thing.
Mhm.
And then what was our detective's name again? I legitimately.
I
Holt?
just forgot.
I'm just gonna say
Yes,
Holt
Holt.
because I saw that.
Sion, I think I said.
Who is like a pianist,
Yes, Sion.
I guess.
Well, not anymore because she messed up her hand.
Well, she got shot. And I guess her partner here and her were ambushed.
Mm-hmm.
And effectively, I mean, I don't necessarily know that there's anything of crazy merit here, but yeah, we do have the panel of this sort of upside down Cthulhu guy in their little weird orphanage, and we're coming to take you away. Okay, well, that's not freaky, you weirdo. But again, so our detective or our investigator goes to find her partner. He's in a bit of trouble, sort of in connection with the Nihil. He's shot, she's shot, and then Emmerich and Holt are both pulled in by Chancellor Lena So.
Mm-hmm.
Was that specifically? Well, I guess we probably was that. I don't know if that was in this specific book. I think it was in our last one, but I mean that's kind of the gist of it.
Oh, and
Emmerich.
by the way, I just thought about it. Our last update with Lena So was she was in critical condition or in a coma or something in the book, right?
No, she had came to.
Did she? Okay.
Her health wasn't good. Let's put it that
Okay.
way. She was awake, but her health wasn't very good. Definitely took a toll on her.
Gotcha.
Emmerich goes off to this planet Varant Tarnum, and I mean, is effectively ambushed by Nihil, and they keep doing this nursery rhyme. Doesn't have the whole thing here. We're coming to take you away. They'll do what they can and they'll do what they must. But when they do find you, all there will be is dust.
Yeah.
So somebody thought through that. Like somebody thought to themselves, I need a nursery rhyme that's like the creepiest thing since the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, those bears wanted to eat you.
Probably.
And this is what they came up with. Like, I think, no offense, I think that the nursery rhyme thing is lame.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It just doesn't hit me the right way.
Well, they make it out to be something so terrifying, but then they give us this laughable Cthulhu creature, which why would any Jedi Master just be walking around as the children are sleeping singing this to them? It's just, it's forced creepiness.
Well, it's the same.
Yeah,
it's the
I get
same.
the point that the tie-in is, oh, it must be the beast because the beast turns you to dust, and
Yeah.
and now it's coming back.
Well, again, it's just another Freddy Krueger. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same. It feels like the same thing. So I don't, whatever. Let's. I guess we'll keep going. So Emmerich and his little troopers here take down the Nihil. Holt's, knocked out. And then, Emmerich kind of goes for this like temple thing. And that's sort of where it ends. He's got a droid guy, though, kind of like Cal.
I know. That's the best part of this comic. I love those droids.
Yeah. But this just ends, though. We don't really see what he saw at the temple.
Yeah,
or
because it
whatever this
doesn't
building is. It might not be a
pick up in the
temple,
next
but
one.
yeah, I don't get it. So it's like, did they go to another temple and the creature had already been there and it killed more people?
Or is
Was
this
there
like a
something
time
there of
jump
worth?
forward and we're not actually here yet? Or
Yeah, I don't. I'm not quite sure what the motive was. But then we pick back up with Emmerich just surrounded by screens. It's been weeks, maybe months. Ugh, lost track of time. And then Holt's just trying to play the Moonlight Sonata in her little Spartan apartment.
yeah,
And they keep reciting this rhyme thing. What? How would you say the first part of it? Shri ka ra ke ka ra.
I didn't even try to pronounce any of that. I'm not gonna try now.
What is it? Whatever. Okay. All right. I don't want to harp on it. Holt can't play the piano. They're called in Alina So's. So we get. Have we had like an actual sort of I don't want to say animated, but just like a
visualization of Lena So.
Yeah, there you go. A visualization of Lena So yet?
I don't think so, and I'm sure that I've never seen her cats before.
I don't know. I think those might have been out there, but yeah, they're here. I don't know. Does this look like how you would picture Lena So though?
Not really. I don't know how I would describe what I pictured of her, but
bigger, not like physically bigger, but more imposing.
Yeah,
Granted,
she is weak right now, so that maybe sure, but
she looks kind of generic, like a generic animation here. I'm not quite sure, but I don't want to. Again, I don't want to harp on it. Just
it's like almost like they're just kind of. I mean, in a way, it kind of looks like almost Padme, a little bit, just different skin color. But
I just think it's generic face.
Right.
Can I also bring this up? Do you think that the illustration in this comic fits with the rest of our like High Republic?
Because to me, it looks like almost like a different world, and like illustratedly.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't read any of the adventures stuff, so I don't know if it would be comparable to that. But I don't think it really is in line with the mainline High Republic.
I don't know why. It just looks different to me. It almost kind of reminds me of.
It's a bit Afra to me.
No, that's not what I'm thinking. Geez, my brain is just dying on me tonight. The Harrison Ford movie with the robots, where he tracks down the robots. Blade Runner.
Yeah.
It for some reason it reminds me of Blade Runner. I don't know why. It looks gritty to me.
Yeah, it does.
I'm not saying that in a bad way. It just looks like very different. I mean, just look at the cover of the first one. And
yeah,
I don't know,
I wasn't
man,
even sure that was the same Jedi. When I was looking at Emmerich, I had to set it side by side because he looks older, a lot older.
Yeah. Well, if I remember, because before I even read this, I looked at it. I was like, "Oh, are they doing something like with Bell? Is that a far?"
Yeah, yeah.
And then you were like, "No, it's not him." I was like, "Well, who the heck is it?"
Right. Yeah, and I had actually jumped ahead a little bit in the comic, just skimming through, and I saw in the first one the little scene of young Emmerich and Stellan, and I totally thought it was going to be about Bell.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, just one more thing on this animation. The line, everything is very soft. It's almost like a very old school looking kind of bit of illustration.
Yeah.
But again, for some reason, it just reminds me of Blade Runner. I don't know why. Blade Runner wasn't animated. I mean, it was a live action flipping movie. I don't know why. It just reminds me of Blade Runner. All right. So we are effectively getting a commission from the Chancellor, and we have this. I don't know, our bad guy from the last comic, Arathab Fall.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure. And basically, Emmerich and Holt are going to go after this guy. It's like a buddy cop thing, but with two cops who don't want partners. I work alone. I'm a lone wolf.
We're working.
Well, I'm the sassy one, and I'm gonna work with you, and you're gonna work with me. No, I work alone.
We're working different jobs, and we'll compare notes. That's it.
Yeah. I actually also, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, I also don't really like the turn in Holt's personality.
Yeah,
because
I thought
that
she seemed pretty caring at first, and then it just kind of drops. And she
Well,
kind of
it
seems like
feel-
a dick after that.
Yeah, it feels completely different from the person that we saw in the first comic, and then even the person we saw in the beginning of this comic. Now, granted, I understand she was shot, she can't play her piano, she's sad, but it just seemed really that's where I'd almost say it gets a little Afra-esque, but it's not Afra. Like, I don't need Afra in here. Afra is Afra. I don't need it's the same thing with droids. I don't need every droid to be a sassy droid. I don't need every female character here to be Dr. Afra. Like, give me different characters because everybody is different. You know what I mean?
Right. And I'm sorry to make the connection, but did we really have to dress Emmerich up the way that we did? I mean, come on, do we need him to look like Lando with his cape?
Yeah, exactly. They dress him up like Lando, don't they?
Because he's going to be way less conspicuous in that than Jedi robes. That doesn't stand out at all.
Yeah.
Just take the cape off.
Let's continue the story here because our murderer guy doesn't appear to be Nihil. Appears to be effectively being hunted by Nihil at this point. And as our buddy cops, start out here, this is where we get Sassy Holt, and we get to see Emmerich without his shirt on. So I'm sure those weebs like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, you're right. Oh, yeah, I actually missed that. He does totally have a half cape.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I just saw the gold and the black, and it looked like Lando, but I didn't really look down and say, oh yeah, he totally has a half cape. It's got to be a throwback to Lando, though.
Yeah, that's all I can think because it doesn't scream investigator.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, our investigators go to this apartment where our murderer guy has his shootout with the Nihil. They're stopped by a little bug creature. And I'm a part of the super secret homicide detective force.
Yes, and clearly, based off of his opinion of it just looking like a drug deal gone wrong, he clearly has no perception skills whatsoever.
Right. Now, one thing, though, that was kind of interesting, Emmerich and Holt do deduce the room effectively in the same fashion together here. They're able to, walk through what happened by just looking at the room and so forth, which, was kind of
cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
It definitely seems to be well thought out piece
it's always
here.
the most entertaining thing of any, investigation, murder mystery type show is, figuring out and analyzing the crime scene. So I appreciated that.
It was Colonel Mustard in the library with the revolver.
With the claws, you mean? He got tore up.
Yeah. So anyway, our murdery guy is still out trying to beat these Nihil. Oh, hey, by the way, Emmerich can move the stupid gas.
Yeah. Guess he's been on the council a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No comment.
Yeah. Whatever. Moving on. They take out a few of the Nihil. Our murdery guy gets away. Emmerich's cool little droid buddy shoots a little tracker onto the guy's speeder. And then they get a little video. And I'm not 100% sure here, but our little bat guy. Is this isn't our like Martian's doctor guy. I thought he was actually killed in the last book. Unless I'm, the doctor who was torturing Loden effectively.
Yeah, I mean, there was also a doctor in the last comic we just went through of the mainline High Republic series when they let loose the gas. Yeah, could have been him, could have been this guy. I don't know. I don't remember the name, but
okay.
Yeah,
well,
definitely some weird creatures being shown off in High Republic between the bat
True.
and the rabbits and everything.
Well, I mean, in the end here, they do have a picture of their quarry, so to speak.
Yeah.
So they're hot on the case. Turn in your badge and your gun. You've gone rogue. It's just such a weird thing,
I don't.
I suppose we
when I think Star Wars.
No, but it has happened. There was even a part in the Aftermath books, if you remember, when we got to Coruscant. They had talked a couple of times about some of like the police people on the planet. So it's not without any sort of merit, so to speak, but it's an interesting route. And this is also Daniel Jose Alder, who's kind of going through this, who's been very prevalent, obviously, in a lot of the comics. So definitely a different turn than what we're used to. So I guess as we have wrapped up both of these right now. Which one of these lines do you think you're more excited about continuing to read through?
Well, for the sake of fairness, I guess I shouldn't go based off of how High Republic mainline has been going so far before these two. That being said, probably still mainline High Republic because I'm not thrilled with the whole buddy cop aspect.
Okay. Well, we also don't know much about Holt either.
True.
Yet. Like what does she bring to the
True
table?
motivations, things of that nature.
And all we know about Emmerich is that he's uncomfortable wearing Lando's clothes.
Yeah.
So,
And then
even
he has
though
some
Lando
PTSD issues with bedtime stories and nursery rhymes.
Sure. Even though Lando isn't even alive at this time, so.
Right. It's very
So basically,
disjointed,
Lando
the
took his
storytelling.
style from Emmerich, is what
Right.
happened.
Right. I don't know. It's very disjointed the way that they're telling the story. Like we said at the beginning or the end of the first comic, you get this cliffhanger that's just completely ignored in this one. Maybe we'll get something in the next one. Hard to say. But not thrilled with the way they're telling the story so far.
Yeah, I mean, it could get better.
Sure.
The aesthetic is interesting.
I just hope it's not like Afro where they can't decide on the animation style because I'm already getting those vibes. Just from reading two.
That happened in the last High Republic comic. What it was, issue 11, because we got a lot of like really kind of not incomplete animations, especially of Avar. She looked different in several different panels.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of odd. But, again, that'll happen. That'll happen. We've seen that happen a lot here and there. So, anyway, anything else we need to talk about just in reference to the comics?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
What you didn't mention, are you more excited for mainline or this new comic line we're going through?
I honestly don't know yet. We're sort of resetting the main line from a relatively short span of comics that explained away the Drengir.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what to think about this yet. If one will be better than the other. So yeah, I think it's too soon to judge.
Yep.
And it could be one or the other, not sure yet, but we'll see. We'll see. I think Trail might have some Trail might have some interesting parts in it. Just depends on how they choose to take it.
Yeah.
However, the only thing that I am a bit hesitant about is I feel like they're going to explain away the lore of this monster thing in the comics as opposed to writing it in a book and making it detailed. Like, it really feels like they're trying to burn through something of less substance in the books and fleshing things out in the comics, but not doing it in a very longer format. So I think that would be a huge mistake for the line to do, is just explain away the monster. Oh yeah, you remember that story nursery rhyme that we were told traumatized kids with? Oh yeah, that's where the monster's from. Oh.
Yeah, my biggest fear is that we're going to have another book, say a few months down the line, and this monster is going to be so fleshed out in the comics that there's no... for people not reading the comics, it's going to be very disjointed because we're going to go from maybe potentially a handful of Jedi knowing about what happened to this happening to, a dozen Jedi and everyone knowing about it widespread throughout the galaxy, and we're already trying to figure out how to deal with it, and it's just... I'm worried that we're doing too much with the comics right now. And I mean, how are we going to even... Do you think we'll even bring up the Drengir in another book? Or are they just going to be swept under the rug?
I don't see why not. They're already dead.
Yeah.
They're done. They took them out. So, yeah. I don't know.
Hard to say.
Hard to say. Well, regardless, that's pretty much the end of our comics here. We would like to hear your opinion, though. If any of you at home are particularly interested in these lines and maybe have some more insight, or maybe you like some of the other comic stuff. Heck, maybe some of you are really big fans of the War of the Bounty Hunters. I don't know, but be more than happy if you'd share it with us, and we'll kind of see how we go from here. Yeah, I don't know. The reset's already happened. We're out of the War of the Bounty Hunters as of now, so I just have to see if it's kind of worth it or not to get into.
I'm hopeful it is, but at the same time, it's a lot to get into. It can be a bit overwhelming with that many different stories.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the hope is that they go from being interconnected back to single storylines that don't cross over. So it makes it a little easier. So you only have to account for one set of lore per book.
So hey, at least the good thing about War was it reminded you of what happened quite a bit. No recaps needed.
No, because it was just the same POV looking at the same darn thing over and over again. It was dumb. I hated that. That was not a good story device. But that's also what we saw in Rising Storm too.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I think we'll probably get moving on here. So, any other things we need to chat about? We hit in the end.
I think we've hit the end.
Okay. Well, folks, if you'd like to interact with us, please be sure to follow us on Twitter at TC Plan Podcast or on Facebook. We're there too. If you'd like to do a little bit more long form, you can always send us a good old email to tcplanpodcast@gmail.com. Anything you want to talk about, if it's something interesting, we'll talk about it on the podcast. Give you a shout out. That's up to you, though. But yeah, that's really it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode, and y'all have a good rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force be with you.